Mr. Jonathan Leary!
What's up, everybody? My name is Jonathan Leary. If you ask me who am I guess 10 years ago, I would just say Jonathan Leary is my name. But as you grow through the years, you find out more about yourself as you evolve each year, each month, 6 months, 12 months, as you say. So who am I? I like to say first, I'm spirit, I'm soul, I'm divine, I'm son, brother, boyfriend, friend, cousin, all those things, all those different masks that you guys wear. But we're here at Unmute. So the most important thing is, who are you as an individual? And I like to ask everybody that, when you look yourself in the mirror, that's the last person you get up, it's the first person you see, last person you go to bed. So a little bit into my story. Born and raised in Jersey. Raised by a single parent. There was co-parent, stepfather in the picture. Explain later in the story, I find out at the age of 20 I actually had a biological father, so I had other siblings. But humble beginnings, background Portuguese, found out I was African American, thought I was Brazilian, thought I was Dominican, all these different things, I didn't know who I was. So I'm me, right? Who am I, right? And you're taught, go to school, get good grades, go to college, all about the regular stuff. So through the ages, go to middle school, graduate as one of the top students, go to the top high school, play basketball, day in, day out. You guys are wearing the athletic grinds, live that 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 2 days, 3 days, you name it. Been through all that. Go through the journey. Varsity player all 4 years, scored 1,000 points, played at Patrick School, former teammates, playing collegiate, played with Kyrie Irving, played with all these, you see idols, you're like, holy shit. You're like, wait, I'm really on the court with this person? And then it's like, wow. And then, graduate high school, valedictorian, you get to that college phase, and kind of your identity, you're like, man, what the fuck, this next phase? And when you get to that phase, that warp, you're like, all right, what's next? Any accomplishments when you set a goal? I'm sure since you guys are here, when you accomplish a goal, you get to that point, and it's that voice, that's it. What's next? And leading up to that point, where it felt like you do all that work, and then you're just like, what's next? For me, during that phase of my life, I really questioned, why do we do all the things that we do? Get up, do these workouts, read all these books, self-development, all that. And I was like, what's the point? Because then you look, you see 90% of the world or 80% of people just doing bullshit and they're still getting by. So you just there hold on. Who am I? Why am I doing this? Even accomplishing all these things that people say are good, valedictorian, national side, all these, it's all just titles at the end of the day. And during that phase of my life, Joanna mentioned and other people mentioned, people get into that phase where it's suicide and stuff like that. And just briefly, everybody can get to a dark place in their lives. And you guys are aware the yin and yang, the polarity is life, there's dark and then there's light. So, I'm gonna be honest with you, when you're in that dark phase of your life, really what people say is just blurs because you're just in your own internal world and it's just a void. And one thing about me, I'm a diligent planner. So when I brought up, because I know people in the victim mindset saying suicide this and that, and when I was at that phase of my life, I actually planned this shit. I was like, damn, because when you feel like that, it's kind of your soul and you just want to press eject, just out of its vessel, So and it was very dark. However, everybody has family, or your mother, your father, could be your sisters, cousins, friends, and the most important thing that you can focus on is the love that your family has around you. So if you tap into that, and when I say that, even that's not enough. Because at the end of the day, you have to be happy with yourself and who you look at yourself in the mirror. So then, you look at your family. I look at my mom, because my mom always been my number one supporter. I'm not sure if everybody else here has a good relationship with their mom or their parents, but regardless, I feel like God places people in your life, because there was this one day I was actually going to do it. I was going to purchase an ad plan and everything. I don't want to get too detailed, like, grab rope, that English tie thing, and I already had, insurance policy, family all set, everything's all good, diligent plan. However, I remember this day, I went to my barbershop, it was also my accountant. I feel like it was God sent. And he's cutting my hair, I'm crying, and we walk out. He's like, hey, just walk around the block. So we're in the Newark area, it's like this office building, similar here. Just walk this rectangle block. And the most important thing he told me, he was like, kid, sometimes you just gotta be. You just gotta take time and just unplug. Because remember how I said earlier, I'm a son, I'm a brother. We all wear these different masks and different responsibilities. Some of you may have children, brother, sister, like I said, and sometimes you forget about yourself. And it's like, who am I? You let the world get to you, and you forget about that inner childness because we all have inner child. Remember, we're all born at 0, 1, 2, 3, eventually, now we're like 40, 50, whatever, right? And it all comes down to the foundation, like, who were you as that child? Like, do you remember how you were as a child? We're all adults now. However, that childlike enthusiasm, that spirit within you, like, if you don't let the world take that away from you, because then, go through phases. School, college, blah, 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 work, 9 to 5, everything. And, you see work, people can be assholes, people can be good people and all that stuff. And don't let just because how someone treats you doesn't mean that you should treat them the same way. Because everything all comes down to energy and the law of karma. So when other people act negative towards you, don't create karma for yourself just because they did that to you. So that's an opportunity for you to touch yourself. However, so during my dark period, right, I felt like, those phases come and go, right? But each time you get through those phases and you feel better, you're stronger, and you're aware. So during that time period, I remember my mom seeing me look in my eyes, and like we all said, each day you get a choice and a chance. And then that day, I decided that I wanted to be greater for my family and the people around me, to create a kingdom for my 2 younger sisters, like for my mom. You grow up, it's just no family comes out and helps, because at the end of the day, no one's coming to save you. So at that moment, I decided to become a better person and to elevate. And then this book came called The Game of Life by Florence Scovel. And religion, whatever, spirituality, it all comes down to what you vibe with and what feels for you. And that opened up my mind, because I started being aware of my words and my feelings, and especially the action. Because the actions is the last thing that manifests on this physical plane. And in that moment, I started to see the light. However, one of the struggles that I had was just being able to speak to other people, and you could say fear of judgment. So, being perceived, but when I speak in smaller groups, people say there was good feedback. You say, holy shit, that was pretty enlightening. So, fast forward to 2023, this past year, that's when I met Matt, and he gave me the confidence. Well, because the confidence was already there, he just reawakened it. So going back to, all those, phases of life, you get the heartbreak, you have people tell you you can't do shit, you have teachers, people that you see as authority talk down on you, behind closed doors, and that little child, when you see the authority talk, the little child gets scared, crumble, and I have to say, fuck that. The inner child, that superhero, just awakened. rip the chest out. Like, don't be so scared, because if you guys have faith in yourself, if you guys believe in a higher power, people who be atheists, go look yourself in the mirror and you'll realize who that is, because he made you in his likeness and image. However, I did say there's a polarity in life, the worldly things, back to that. You know the vices of the world, it's all on TV nowadays. You got porn, bikinis, you got weed, you got drugs, you got alcohol, all these different types of things that disconnects you from spirit and takes you out. I'm not like, it's fun to go out and have fun, but then moderation, because your habits is what creates your destiny, what you're doing on a daily basis, all that compound effect. So, I don't even know, I'm just talking, but because another point in my life, so I read that book, I was just, every single day, it's just steps. Sometimes, see how we're probably only 30th or 21st, you see how there's no steps going here across, right? Sometimes life is just like that. You gotta fucking say go forward, one step at a time, and walk with faith, but surround yourself with like-minded people, and remember, your words are so much powerful. However, a word is just a word, right? It's nothing dangerous. It's the feeling that you put with it. So when you hear a word, it's the vibration and feeling that you feel within yourself. So as we grow up, right, you have to reprogram yourself. I'm pretty sure everybody knows that. If not, shit, I don't know. To me, it's just dumb stuff. And you have to reprogram the feelings and to rewire yourself. Like this how Nate mentioned 75 hard. I actually completed 75 hard. That January 30th, I made a decision because, we all have vices. I enjoyed briefly drinking at times, having a joint with friends. So I told myself, I did 75 hard maybe twice, 3 times, but I got to day 30, day 17. The second workout, I was a pussy, right? I just couldn't. I was like, yo, an outdoor workout, are you kidding me? However, Jonathan at 12, 13, when I was playing basketball varsity, I was outside training in the rain. When it was snowing, I remember I shoveled the snow for the court, because where I lived, the Kingston Court, stay at the court. I shoveled a lot, and I was out there shooting in the gym in the snow. I didn't give a fuck. And then about 20, when you start to see the worldly things, you graduate, you follow the crowd, you steer away from the things that felt natural to you as growing up. And then, yeah, that was doing the worldly things, drinking, smoking all the time, being distracted, because there's nothing wrong with that, but if you spend most of your time doing those things, following the worldly things, especially now, you gotta be mindful. I'm not sure if you guys are aware, subliminal messaging, the electromagnetic field, all that stuff. I don't want to get too deep into it, So, but however, with 75 hours, the most important thing, it comes down to accountability, because what doing that taught me is, if I've done it before, I know I can do it again and done it great. And however, wherever you're at now, whenever you get in a rut, you have the opportunity to take yourself out of the rut, because it's all internal. Your mind is your world. So the first step to change your world is by your words, and then also your actions and the habits you do. However, you have to do what feels right. And when I say feels right, sometimes the hard things like working out, taking a cold shower, doing whatever that challenge you, it may not be fun and it may not be easy. However, that feeling that you get after, the endorphins, it's a beautiful feeling. So then, how much time do I have? 2 minutes? So what I like to leave you guys off is, everybody has their own challenges, and with family, I never had a father in my life. Well, I had a stepfather, saw what not to do, abusive, and, that 8-year-old boy. However, when you see what not to do, you kind of have a better idea of what to do. And then, last thing, when you look at your family tree, certain aspects and certain habits that your parents have done, grandparents have done, have grace, but look within yourself so you can heal the generations going forward, 7 years forward, and then you go 7 years back. Because just because they did what they did to you, good, bad, whatever, it doesn't mean you should do what's going. It doesn't mean you should do it for the next generation going forward. So learn from others, learn from other mistakes, and most importantly, unmute your voice and listen to that inner voice within you. And when I say that, when you first start doing these things, there's gonna be two voices. There's gonna be that pussy voice and that bitch voice, and then we all know the boss voice within, which the boss voice can be your higher self, inner self, whatever you guys believe in, right? So when you guys first doing this, learn how to dictate which is the bitch voice and which is the boss voice. Remember, devil and heaven. It's all internal, all energy, all within you guys. And remember, one day at a time, each day counts. Last thing, have a mentality, have a farmer's mentality. If each day counts, each day you're planting seeds for the next harvest to reap. So I hope you guys enjoy it. You guys have a wonderful day.